Welcome back. Good to see you. Boy, I think it's funny. I don't think funny is the right word. Ironic. I think there's an irony involved. Strike while the irony is hot. That's what I always say, and that is so for some reason the topic comes into my head that we would talk about more than enough this week and making that decision to become that sort of mentality where we live with our cups flowing over. And I think one of the things I've discovered from that is every time we reaffirm or confirm or strengthen or lean into that decision to live in the fullness, the abundance of living, that then everything that stands in the way of it will be revealed. I mean, it seems to be uncanny. You pray for patience and you get the guy in line in front of you with 17 items and the 10 items or less. I think you get the point, and that is um, every time we make this decision and we feel the pinch of barely enough, and it's like, well, enough of that. I'm going to get into agreement with what all of the great, true, authentic world scriptures say about living in abundance and truth and the fullness of life. That then what will happen is a lot of what stands in the way of it will rear its ugly head. And I've just really had one of those weeks. I am not complaining. Well, yeah, I am complaining, actually, come to think of it. And am I feeling sorry for myself? A little bit. You got to schedule in a little bit of feeling sorry for yourself time. It feels so satisfying. And sometimes, you got to go get a pint of ice cream. I almost did that last night. I was struggling with a tech problem that I've been wrestling with that's been killing me for a couple of days. And I just was at my wit's end. But I didn't. I had a shred of discipline. But anyway, I digress. So here's the deal. You want to be a more than enough person. If you're listening to this and you're like, yep, I agree. My cup is going to run over and I'm going to agree to get out of my own way so that love, light, and truth can flow through me out into the world. You're going to run into the crap. And so out of this, a great spiritual truth was reminded to me. I don't think of anything. Thoughts fall into my head. I think our brains are radio receivers. They are not thought generators. That's Science will prove that very soon. And boy, a lot of neuroscientists are going to be damn embarrassed. And they really should be. When you push a false narrative onto humanity for 400 years, you should be not shamed, but you should be embarrassed. Anyway, there it says this: Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Well, what do you mean, Greg? Well, I continue. Blessed are you, yes, you, when they revile and persecute you and say all kinds of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so they persecuted the prophets who were before you. Greg, could you please unpack that? Because you're not making any sense. You sound like one of those idiots on YouTube spewing crap. Okay, so I'm going to unpack that for you. Uh, History is filled with martyrs who were persecuted. They get burned at the stake, yada, yada. And that's a phase we go through when we're persecuted from the outside in. But there's a much deeper phase, and that phase is when the persecutions come from the inside out. And the enemy is within us, so to speak. And whether you call the enemy the devil or evil or alcoholism or the enormous potency of habit or neurochemical predisposition or depression, I don't care what you call it, but that's irrelevant. When you are feeling persecuted from the inside, when you say, I will live my best life and I will agree to get in alignment with the universe, and then you're faced, your problems get bigger and worse, and the voice in your head that is depressed or sad or lonely or grievous or helpless or stupid or self-loathing attacks you, good news. It says right there, because the battle is being fought out, and these battles simply must be fought out. This earth plane is not rainbows and marshmallows, and this is why I think spirituality gets such a bad name, and why why it deserves it in many cases, because it's la la land, it's fantasy land. We will have to fight out these battles within us, and to the degree that we have absorbed energies or thought patterns, or the devil is very pernicious. When we're ready to be liberated once and for all, it will use every trick in the book. It will find the oldest character defect and revivify it and use it and say, really, you really want to be free? Don't you remember how stupid or ignorant or ugly or inappropriate, or don't you remember all this that has gone wrong? And it will try to suck us back in. So stick with it, because you're blessed. When that fight is really going on inside of you, you are great victory is coming. And it's the time, it's the hardest time, but it's also the time when you exercise faith. Your victory is nigh, as they used to say in old-fashioned language. Anyway, I'd love to hear what you have to say about all this stuff tomorrow, and it's Friday, and we'll visit. Have a great day, everybody. Blessed are you if you're being persecuted from the inside out.